Meanwhile, for Napoli, 4-0 victory over Genk, ending that 9-match winless streak. Not enough to save Carlo Ancelotti. We know he's achieved a lot during his time in Naples. What went wrong, Gab?
Well, this goes back probably to late September, early October. The impression is that behind the scenes, there's a group of players, Insigne, Callejon, Koulibaly, Dries Mertens, who have contractual issues at the club. Allen, another one. And after a poor result, you'll recall the whole thing where the club wanted to send them to training camp. The players rebelled. Ancelotti actually went to the training camp by himself, or remained in the training camp by himself while everybody went home. The club, he was kind of, looked like he was walking a line between the fine line between the two. But things went downhill from there, and the players didn't respond. 9 games without a win in the minds of the president. This is partly Ancelotti's fault for not being tougher on his rebellious players, who, like I said, many of these guys could leave in January. I think that's the stock explanation. If you want to dig a little bit deeper and you want to be a little bit more cynical, De Laurentiis spent a lot of money in the summer on people like Manolas and Chucky Lozano. The results weren't coming in. And he looked at this and said, I might need to go and extend a whole bunch of contracts, and it's going to cost me a lot of money. And with Ancelotti here, maybe I made some promises to him. He wants a certain level of player. Why don't I just replace Ancelotti with somebody cheaper and pin this on him because of the player rebellion, if that makes any sense. But it probably doesn't make any sense because nothing about this makes sense.
Did you say Ancelotti achieved a lot?
Yeah.
What?
Well, he finished second last season. That's pretty impressive, no?
Move on. That's achieving a lot.
Overall?
All right, do we laud...
What were Napoli's expectations?
Well, they finished second before. Do we laud under Sarri? Do we laud managers in other leagues that finish second?
Mauricio Pochettino, apparently, is one of the greatest coaches ever. What does he achieve? What did he do with Spurs?
It's actually wait,
Craig, what did he do?
He took him to the Champions League final.
So, didn't win it.
He took him to the Champions League final.
Napoli finished second in Serie A.
Well, what's finishing second?
Well, exactly what's finishing second. It's exactly the same thing.
Carlo Ancelotti has much more experience than Mauricio Pochettino. What did he achieve at Napoli, right? Tell me.
I think he achieved over what was expected.
You want me?
You think what he's working, how much money is he working with compared to Pochettino?
Gab just told you they went out and spent money in the summer. They lost Jorginho. They still get Koulibaly. They've got lots of good players. So I don't buy this, he achieved a lot. He didn't.
It's actually turned into Spurs, isn't it?
What?
Because you've got a host of senior players who are out of contract, a team that should be doing better and doesn't. It's exactly Spurs, except it's in Italy.
Arsenal next, Gab. Will it be for Ancelotti?
I don't know. I mean, as I understand it, there's been no official contact whatsoever, which makes sense because he was under contract until about 15 minutes ago. There's no question. I think Ancelotti's been very clear about this. He'd love to come back to the Premier League. Equally, I think Arsenal, from what we understand, they'd hoped that Freddie Ljungberg could see them through to the end of the season, that they wouldn't be rushed into a decision. I think Arsenal have to answer some pretty big questions first about what kind of club they want to be and sort of what the longer-term plan is. Maybe decide, what players in their squad are worth keeping around, which ones are worth letting go. I think Arsenal would prefer not to be rushed into making any kind of decision.
And Gattuso is going to take over at Napoli?
That's been reported. And when I speak of a cheaper guy and downgrading, that's the idea. It's not a knock on Gattuso. Obviously, last year at Milan, they came very close to qualifying for the Champions League after all the difficulties that they'd had. But yeah, it does seem as if Gattuso will be announced on Wednesday as the new manager.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN+.